All right, it's recording, it says. All right, ready? All right, hey guys, it's Coach Niemi and Coach Vallance, our defensive coordinator here. This week we're going to try to do a few, and next week too, just try to do a few Zoom sessions where we record it and post it for you. So we're going to talk through a few possessions here and there from different games with our coaches. So today we are watching the fourth quarter of the University of Pennsylvania, who was a Final Four team in 2019, against the University of Maryland. And they're there in Burt Stadium. In the third quarter, Penn went on a big run. They're up by 3, we think, 3 or 4. So Coach Vallance is going to walk through some different things on defense here. I want to chime in a little bit when necessary, so I'm going to hand it off to him. All right, Coach?
All right. Hello, boys. Hope everyone's doing well here. We'll get a little fix of some lacrosse to get us thinking at least here. So what we did is we went ahead and clipped some of this. So much like we do with Huddle, it'll kind of pause. And instead of writing or typing what we're going to say, Coach and I will talk about it a little bit. So like Coach said here, we're in the fourth quarter. Penn is in blue, Maryland is in white. So we got Maryland on defense to start here. So in this clip here, right, Penn's working the ball around a little bit. They're going to get into their offense here very shortly. All right, so first thing we're seeing here as the Dodge is getting ready to go, we're going to see an exchange. So backside exchange and the crease guy. And we want to watch and see how the Maryland guys in white are playing this. All right, so here comes our first problem. The midi short stick looks like here that's playing the guy furthest away. On the switch, he's more worried about kind of staying where he was. As you see here, we have a slide going, and we're going to see a lot of space here open towards the middle. All right, so as this guy's already recovering, it's really kind of the first movement where people are helping down. We want to make sure we have someone inside there to help a lot earlier. So Maryland kind of dodges a bullet here with a guy that was open initially, but then we'll see some good play here from Maryland as Penn goes to throw the ball right back. This is the guy that initially slid. So great awareness. He's in a good spot. He's aware where the ball is. He's going to get what we're always looking for. Gets a nugget.
Oh, yeah.
We got a ground ball play here. And I'm going to let this run a little bit for some transition, and I'll let Coach talk about this and kind of see what these guys are doing and what we want to see them doing.
Yeah, we'd always like to see the first player down the field. You play, Coach. Cut the crease if possible. So here it's a 5-on-5, and then they throw it down the side because that's where they want it to go, I believe, right, Coach? You let it run, right? And then obviously you got Penn's got some issues here because they want a sub, so Maryland's able to throw the ball back up the field and get a 3-on-2 kind of on that back side.
So I think from what Coach is saying there, right?
Yep.
The first guy would still like staying in it. He peels out, but our backside guy does a good job of staying in the play and creating some good offense here for him. All right, so we're going to flip from the other side. This is the immediate restart out of that, basically. So we have 2 guys behind here, and you'll see, right, what ends up happening, we don't get a lot of pressure on the ball. This is Penn and blue playing defense now. This is one of the Bernhardts playing attack that has the ball. You don't get pressure and end up having these arrows. You have 1, 2, 3 guys that are looking at, really at this point, kind of committed to the ball, and we'll see what happens here. Right, they really try to play that with just 2 guys behind. Right? They don't, even though one guy commits, they leave this guy wide open here. We see what happens when we don't have pressure on the ball and we have more than one person kind of committed to the ball. That leaves us in a not great situation. And this begins a run here for Maryland. We'll see it in some different ways. So this ends up being kind of the bread and butter of what Coach watched more of this game early offensively. I don't know if they did this a lot, but they do a lot of big little here in the fourth quarter. They have a lot of success. Penn really struggles with it.
Well, one point I'll make. I mean, I don't know if Maryland's got all their guys on the field yet, but you just look at the screen here. Penn's got them outnumbered, right? So count the Penn guys: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And count the white jerseys. I only got 5. So right now, Penn's got them outnumbered, and this we call this no ad on our defense, where we outnumber the offensive team, and we use a designated slider. And there's always some gray area there because there might be a guy coming in. There might be a guy with a matchup coming in. And you can see the Penn. I don't know if I can draw it, Tony. You can see this one Penn short stick right here. Tony, coach will point at him. Those two guys are basically covering one guy there on the inside. So I'm curious to see what happens. Here as this play develops. Yeah, so now I'll quickly chime in. So now you got all 6 guys in. The big thing is just to communicate, right? I mean, I think Coach will touch on that. Is you're in a no-ad situation, and now you're into a situation where you misplayed a pick, and you've got to get out of no-ad and into whatever your base defense is, which is for us is black. And I think the on-ball situation with the pick was probably the first problem, right, Coach?
Yeah. So the one stop here isn't really showing up, but this is our. Just so we recognize, here's our big little. So this is Bubba Fairman, right? Probably their best midi coach. We call him their best midi, probably.
Yeah, absolutely, especially behind the cage.
So you got a short stick here. Here's your little. Here's your big. Here comes the pick play. And so a couple issues here the coach was talking about. One, right? We don't play that great. Actually, if I play to the next one. These lines here, what we're worried about is look at the separation. You've got 4, almost 5 yards of separation where this offensive player has nobody influencing what he's going to do. His hands are free. He can stop, start, slow down, do whatever he needs to do. And then as Coach mentions earlier, you've got 2 guys inside that not only are looking towards the ball, but looks like are already moving towards the ball. So we truly have now this guy kind of playing him, 2 other guys committed, which makes it really hard for now these 2 blue guys for Penn to cover 1, 2, 3, 4 guys. 2 against 4 is not good numbers for us defensively.
Can we go back to the pick, Coach? Is that possible? We can do that, right? So I mean, a couple of things on the ball. I would say, guys, listen. When there's a, we want to play the ball harder. I think in that situation, I would say that generally speaking, this guy he kind of goes over the picker instead of pushing himself through. If he plays the ball harder, I think that would fix some of the problem. Is that correct? Would you agree with that, Coach?
Yeah, I mean, his partner does a good job here, and we don't know exactly how Penn was trying to play this, but
it looks like they're not switching. That's for sure.
They're not switching, but this guy marries up really well. As a lefty, he even has the ability to kind of try to get a whack here.
Absolutely.
Leaves a big enough channel, like Coach said, this shorty could have played over the top.
Yep.
But you get no friction from the guy on ball, no help from this guy on the pick, which creates that gap that we see right here.
Yep.
And then we'll see how it leads to the problems. Right. Fully now, here are the 3 guys fully committed, and now you see. Right, this Penn guy's covering 1. There's really 3 guys left open here for 1 guy left trying to cover.
Wow. All right, guys, we'll talk about the out of bounds real quick and the communication here, Coach.
Yeah, so, right, this is a time, especially after inverts, slides happening behind, right? Our call is a Bama call, okay? Be aware, okay? Be ready, all right? Be man aware too, right? That's the Bama, be active, man aware, right? We're not shutting down. It's our chance to kind of key back up. We got to talk. Who's got that guy? All right, I'm on a short stick. I don't want to be on a short stick. The poles need to be here. So it's a chance for us to make sure that we are how we need to be. It's a chance to communicate. It's a quick second for the goalie to be able to turn around without worrying about the ball and talk to the defense. So we got to make sure that we're using that time effectively, efficiently. They get a penalty here. I think they score. They have a couple man-up goals that I didn't put in. Folks are more on the 6-on-6. So you see right here, we're 15-12. So they're down 3 at this point. They get At least one back there man up, I believe, maybe two before this next clip comes in. So a little bit of this early subbing game we're seeing. Here goes Fairman again. There's your good offensive midi who's still being covered by a short stick. We can guess here where he's going to go based on that last success they had. So defensively for us, we kind of see them do one thing. Hopefully we're already thinking, hey, here's what we have to be worrying about. What are we doing? How are we counteracting that? Okay, there's our big. So same idea here. You see Penn playing a similar way. They're married up to his back. It's the lefty playing there again. We'll see if Penn does a better job this time.
Oh boy.
Okay, kind of that same issue. 4 to 5 yard gap. Okay, with no pressure. And again, two guys here that are at least focused behind having to worry about the ball. So again, we've committed 3 guys to a ball behind.
You go back, Coach, or
yeah.
So I'll touch on one just back to when he starts. Yeah. So guys, one of the things you have to remember is that in order to slide well, you have to control the ball well. I'm going to say that again for you guys. In order to slide well, you've got to control the guy who has the ball. It is very difficult to slide to somebody that's basically not being covered because there's no friction on the ball, meaning there's no ball pressure. There's no ability here to force the ball carrier into a slide or towards a slider. This is basically just running at a person who's not being covered. So, in any situation on the defensive end of the field, we've got to be able to, one, have some friction on the ball, and then 2, force the Dodger ball carrier into areas where we can slide to them. So if we keep them going in one direction, or if we turn them, depending on what kind of defense we're in, then it's easier to slide because everybody on the field knows where the ball is going. When you go back to when this pick happened, once he comes off this pick, basically nobody on the field knows where this guy's going. I mean, yes, he's going to his right, but he's not being covered. There's no friction and there's no ball pressure, and this is really hard to slide to.
They get an exchange here, right? They get a slide.
Yep.
They do neutralize that movement. They're matching up. They're recovering. They attack that same shorty again.
Pretty good on-ball defense there.
Yeah, and they throw it back down. Right, we've been kind of picking on Penn a bit here, but we'll see some positives. As this ball carrier now comes around left-handed, we'll see, right, Maryland's really tight here. We'll see some not great spacing. This guy kind of gets caught up with so many guys. So we'll see this Maryland guy dive in. Let's look and see how this Penn guy plays a situation that is presented him here. All right, here's a good read. His guy goes inside. There are 4 guys within a phone booth here, really hard in this tight quarter. Again, as Coach just said, with a Penn guy on his back, pushing him into here, influencing a lot more, right? They don't have that same separation. Great time to double, getting pushed from the back, has a pull, sliding, okay, to put the pressure in front of him. Penn does a good job here creating a turnover. Right, but I think that keys in a lot on what Coach said, the difference between having that pressure behind you allows the slide to be a lot more effective. If there was that 5-yard gap, you'd be in trouble.
No question.
All right, so Maryland's chipping away. Big Little's been working. What do you think they're going back to?
Big Little.
Big Little.
Offensive coach is feeling good about himself, Coach.
Feeling good. This guy actually, he's an attackman. I listed as attackman at least. I don't know if they're mixing guys up, running guys through the box, but they're just continuing to beat up the guys behind here. So here we go. There's our Big Little, same setup. They keep on attacking from the same spot.
So, Coach, could you talk maybe while we're having paused here for a second about what the different, if it was us, like what the different adjustments could be? I know there's a lot of them, but maybe bring up a couple that we might use in a game.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the biggest thing that we were seeing there was we were getting a gap, right? We were getting gapped. We weren't getting ball pressure. So if we're not able to pressure the ball, it doesn't matter if we have a short stick, a long pole, 2 guys on him. If he's not getting pressure, it's not doing us any good. So I think the first thing we could do is we can say, hey, we're going to switch that, or in this case, really more of a jump, especially with the little going towards the big. Okay, if they want to switch the matchups, okay, but we're at least going to pressure the ball and make them throw some passes and do something else.
Right. And you could switch and shut off for a moment, correct? Obviously, and buy yourself a little bit of time, to get organized again if you needed to to do that. You talked about also, stepping out and hedging more, right? So potentially the guy who's the big, who's man setting the pick, could jump out and, I call it whack, right? Whack the guy who has the ball, give him a hard check across the stomach and across his arm that slows him down, right? And makes it hard to feed in that moment, and then you recover back. That's another option, right?
Definitely, especially with it seems like a lot of times this guy here that's covering Bernhardt for the most part is a lefty. So as a righty carries over the top, you're naturally to your strong hand. So you can very easily, like Coach is saying there, get a whack with your strong hand and then immediately still be in a spot where you're playing this guy. It's not, you don't even have to take a step out the way they've been playing it.
How about on the ball? What would you want the defender to stay? Right now he's pretty square, butt to the midline. The guy that's on the ball currently, you know what I mean?
On ball?
Would we ever force him up the field? Maybe would we ever force him away from where the picker's coming from?
We could with hands. We can think back to what we did against Guilford. We knew those guys were strong. We would actually, at that time it was attackmen with defensemen. We could push them up and then that way alleviate the inside slide and come more of an adjacent.
What did we call that last year? Sorry.
Good question. I don't remember what we called it.
We'll have to go back and look that up and send that to the guys. Yeah. We came near man, basically, right? We came adjacent. We came white. We were in white. We were in white. So, guys, remember, black is our crease slide. White is our adjacent. So, look, to what Coach is mentioning is last year, they had some strong, Guilford had two kids. They're real good players. And we actually forced them up the field and slid white, which would be, can you point the short stick real quick, Coach V? This guy on the wing. So we could actually force him up the field and slide from here, right? And then we're just on a chain around the guy on the crease. So I'll let you play it. I know we're got to keep going.
We'll see. I honestly don't remember what Penn ended up doing on this one.
All right.
Okay, so a little bit better. See, this time the guy does go over the top.
Yep.
So he's trailing, but this gap is much smaller. So we have a little bit of a better chance to influence the ball carrier. Again here, though, we have guys that are committed down. We're still have to be ready in a spot where we can slide. Penn does slide. So they neutralize that initial dodge.
That was actually a no-ad situation for a moment there again,
They've got a pull on Fairman that was hurting them a bit. Here, I'll go back a little bit, though. Here's the thing, right? Sometimes it's very easy to see. All right, rewind all the way back. Sometimes it's very easy to see the deliberate invert, right? We know that guy's behind. He carries behind. In the course of play, we need to recognize these short inverts, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, the ones that happen in ball movement.
Sorry, Coach?
The ones that happen in ball movement, you know what I mean? They're in something, guy pops behind, you got a bad matchup, and now you gotta handle it. You know what I mean?
Right. They're not waving the flag and showing everyone that we're getting into an invert. It happens fast. So the recognition by the guys who are hot and inside to recognize this matchup. Now we've got a short stick very close to the goal that's got to dig in and play defense.
And that's a great term, Coach. I mean, right here, what we would need in this situation is our short stick defender to do a hell of a job. I mean, you're going to have to dig in and fight on the corner so that these other guys can get organized and be ready to help you.
Right. We got to buy as much time to get these guys ready. And at the same point, as this guy's doing a great job of digging in and not, right, he's widened him out to the hashes. Okay. He's given our inside guys a chance. He's given the goalie a chance to have a good angle here. These guys have got to understand, hey, if this was a long pole, we'd probably be pretty good. We'd feel good about this.
Yep.
This is a tough ask here for a short stick so tight to the goal. We need to be ready to slide to this sooner with a short stick on ball than we would if it was one of our close defensemen or long poles. Right, this guy's thinking about it now, right? He sees this. Again, this guy's done a great job of digging in. He is reading now a little bit of, hey, we may be turning this guy. We maybe have a good opportunity coming. again, they're taking advantage of some of these opportunities that Maryland's given them. If we go back a little bit here, you can see he does a good job, this Penn guy does a good job with his footwork from where he's initially circled.
Yep.
Okay, here he's thinking about it. And then he has a couple shuffle steps until he sees that back turn. The guy's rolling. Now he knows he can go. Again, 2 guys on the ball gives a better opportunity. They move it. Now, okay, we don't need to go play this guy behind, but we got a huge gap here, talking about no ball pressure on the guy behind. And this is simply going to be how quick can Penn recover versus ball movement. Kind of forget about this guy out here. We're a little slow communicating this guy in and probably bumping out. So now we've got 7-8 yard gap here to a guy on the wing, which leads to a goal.
Good offense by Maryland.
So some good there from them in recognizing, but we see that the recovery is important. We got to continue to talk, match up, get back out.
All right, so Maryland's the ball here. Yeah, right. So guys, this is we would be in no ad here. So I know I always remind you guys of this. There's 6 Penn defenders on the field. Currently 4, now 5 Maryland guys. Right. So we should. Right. If you see this, you point the guy that's not covering anybody. Yeah. In our defense, I would prefer to slide from him right now rather than slide from the crease like Penn is, because if you slide from the crease, everyone else has to help. If you slide from the no ad guy, no one else has to help. And you can buy yourself some time while they're subbing. They're attacking these guys right away. As you can tell, they've been doing this here for a couple of possessions. And Penn playing it this way is definitely, it's not what we would do. I'd rather see the no ad guy go support the ball there. Right, Coach?
You can see, right, the kind of habit is we're kind of at the restraining line. We're waiting to see this guy. Now, this guy recognizes I don't have really a guy yet. He tries to get lower. To Coach's point, we'd like to preset you even lower.
Yes.
To know, so these guys know, hey, I'm helping out.
Yes.
All right, here we go. Big little, here comes our pick. Same thing. Could get a whack there if we wanted to. Still choosing not to. Okay, again here, this is our recognition. You got a short stick on ball. Okay, this guy's peeled off. These guys inside are very man aware. Okay, maybe this is scout. Maybe they read this guy as a feeder and they're not that worried about it. But from our standpoint here, again, a short stick, you got to dig in, you got to buy some time, but we're not going to ask a short stick to win a one-on-one battle 4 or 5 yards away from the crease. That's a really, really tough ask.
And then two things off ball, right? The short stick the short stick that's at about 11, he could probably step down another foot or so and get on the back of that Maryland offensive player. And then the other guy on the far side up top, Coach, who's got his back to the play, we'd like to see him get sideways, see man and ball. He's not in any position to knock down a pass or check anybody the way he's standing. Love to see a sideways with your stick up, being able to see where the ball is, be able to see your man and be able to play the passing lane and help off ball inside on that backside.
Right, and if those guys are playing like Coach is saying, then these guys probably feel a little bit more confident being in a spot to help.
Yep, absolutely.
So, again, it's not awful defense, but it's a tough ask to have a short stick play and neutralize a guy there by himself.
100%.
So, big little, big little, big little, big little. We're scoring a lot of goals. What do you think Maryland's going to come back?
I don't know, Coach. I should get them announcing. Big little, I bet.
I'll take big little. So here we go. A little bit different here, right? Same idea, but you'll see the attackman here, I believe Bernhardt once again, kind of starts there, but he's going to kind of slip around. They're doing the exact same thing, but they're window dressing it a little bit differently. He's like, no, I'm not going to be behind. But then he does. So now they've got a lefty attacking, right, coming from the different angle for the first time, and they're bringing this guy, the picker, to the ball a lot later, right? So by coming out later, It makes this guy's job harder. He's not in the same position. He's not on the guy's back. Now we get two guys that are on this side, but we still have a gap here. We're still trailing. We don't have great ball pressure. Okay, to kind of settle it. Now, here's where our communication comes down. Very similar to what Coach was just talking about. This guy knows his job. I got to be ready to slide. He's saying, hey, if I got to go, you guys, he's pointing, you guys have got to get here.
Absolutely.
Too big of a gap. The ball is behind goal line extended. These guys are at 18, 21, and 16 yards away from the goal. We got to let them be where they are and make sure we're not letting the guy 7 yards away from the goal score. So communicating here, are we going to get those guys down in a spot where we can go?
Oh, man.
And the answer is, unfortunately, no. Not awful, right? This guy does kind of get the idea, the top center guy. He gets down to a spot, but a 2-yard gap, again, he's worrying about this guy up here. This guy's 21 yards away. If you're not right on this guy's back, good players are going to do this. They cut. We're stick length away. The guy who's kind of half slides does a good job being in the lane, tries to get a nugget here, tries to knock it down, but the ball ends up going through. And at this point, Maryland goes up 2 goals. So they go from 3 down to 2 up there.
Wow. All right. So, guys, a couple things. That's the last one, right, Coach?
Yes.
Yeah. So my teaching points from watching that, right, is having friction on the ball allows you to play the pick a little cleaner, and also allows the off-ball defenders a chance to figure out who's 1, who's 2, who's hot, who's ready to go. That's going to help those guys stay organized. And then the next part you can probably learn, and probably for Coach and I as well, is like we could get in this situation and we need to have a backup plan. Plan A could be what Penn was doing, but it looked like to me like Penn didn't have a plan B kind of in mind, or they didn't want to go to it, whatever it was. And that could be a white slide, that could be a switch, that could be any number of different options. Correct?
Yeah, and I'll go back to where we've found ourselves in this position at times, guys, right, where we know maybe we're at the other end of the field, we're away from our bench, and a run like this kind of happens. To Coach's point, we might not have a timeout. Situationally, we can't use a timeout. We can communicate with guys, and we're trying to yell and get guys on the field, but what's our next plan? What's our plan B, right? If someone keeps doing the same thing to you and you just kind of let it keep happening, right? You get in a fight, you get punched in the face 5 times in a row. Well, you might want to cover up your head or duck or do something. Like, I don't like getting punched in the face. So the communication and figuring out how we're going to stop this, make them beat you a different way. And they beat you one way once, okay, we can work on it. They beat you the same way, okay, we got to fix it. After 2 times, let's do something different. Maybe it's not something we normally do, but make them do something different. Make them show they can beat us from up top, or their attackman can beat a pole, and not just go to the big little here in this case. So a lot of this is more of kind of the thinking part. We have some of how we're playing the ball, but a lot of it's what's our mentality, what's our communication, and what's our thinking. So hopefully we got something out of that. Of course, we just so happened to pick a Maryland clip forward for Coach Niemi, right? Getting a nice end there for his Terps.
I love seeing the old Bird Stadium, man. It's always fun to watch. But guys, and also some things just for terminology while we have you for one more second, Coach. We talk about black, which is our crease slide, white, which is our adjacent slide, no ad, which is when we outnumber the other team. Was there anything else that we talked about terminology-wise, just in that moment? Those 3 things, right? What's that?
Bama on the end lines.
Bama on the end lines. All right, that's basically our matchup and reset call when the ball goes out of bounds, or there's a restart of any kind. Anything else?
That's it. That's it in far terms.
So 4 things in terms of terminology there that you can learn from, and thank you, Coach. We're going to post this up on YouTube, right, for everybody to watch. And as always, guys, feel free to send myself a note or a text or an email, whatever, if you have questions. Same with Coach Vallance. Thanks, Coach. Look forward to seeing everybody soon.
All right, guys.
Thanks, Coach. Great job.
Got it.
All right, I'm gonna hit. Hold on, stop.